Hi, it's Friday. It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Together Unlocked, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're led by disabled artists based in the main London 2012 Paralympic host borough of Newham. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as Ju90. I'm the artistic director of Together 2012. We're here in our studio in Canning Town with our chair, the artist Julie Newman. We're dressed up to go out to stay in for our regular Friday spot, so we're going to tell you all about that in a minute with some audio description. We're bringing you show today as part of our Join In From Home programme of inclusive, accessible arts activities, and also as part of our artistic programme showcasing disabled artists from East London, the UK, and from across the world. So I have a corona crop, as we call it, when you've taken the dog's clippers to your hair in despair. I have black plastic framed glasses, black wrist braces, and silver jewellery. Behind us, we have our Together graffiti banner. You can just see a little bit of it. We produced that in a summer programme a few years ago with a company called Graffiti Life, and it has images of all the different activities that we do through the year, from drama, street art, carnival art, photography, art, filmmaking, dance, and probably a whole bunch of other things that I cannot think of. My outfit, I have a purple t-shirt that says Mad Love on it, and you'll probably see more of that once we have taken off these huge white, I think, made from plastic. They're certainly fireproof lab coats. So we're in white coats that say expert in English and German on the pockets. And they come from, I'll tell you a little bit about it. They come from a project that I did, 12, 15 years ago, called Men in White Coats. And it was a commission from the city of Graz in Austria. I can't remember. I think it was part of their Oktoberfest, but I can't remember all of the details. And then I took it as it was produced as a performance, and then I created it as an installation for my abnormal touring exhibition, which I think was about sort of 2008 to 2011. And it was very much about the idea that the power that we give white coats. So the idea was that part of the installation was just these white coats all hanging up, but with different names on them, like God and expert and judge. And yes, it was that whole sort of thing about the power, if you like. The reason these two have been hanging up in my studio when the rest of it is packed up down in my storage unit is just that they were hellish to iron on. And of course, that was ultimately how we made them. I created all of the printouts on the computer with iron on transfers, and then had to iron them on, and it's rather difficult onto fireproof fabric. So these two tatty ones have been hanging on the door in the studio, and the reason we're wearing them is to advertise our new spot, AppDate. AppDate is going to be taking place around 3:15 every episode for the next month or so. And we'll tell you a bit more about it in 5 minutes. There you go. But in any case, it's time for AppDate. So, for anybody who saw yesterday's news, and particularly if you didn't, the world beating Test and Trace NHS app is back on schedule and coming next week to our very own London Borough of Newham. The plan is that they go back to the Isle of Wight, where they tested the original app. And as I understand it, the testing and the pilot went really well, but there were problems with the technology. So they'll be repeating that on the Isle of Wight, where I believe from all the news reports, residents really enjoyed taking part, didn't they? The feedback seemed really positive and the uptake was really high. It was, unfortunately, what they concluded from the test was that the technology just wasn't good enough and they would need to start again. And I understand it's something to do with Bluetooth, that Apple phones are designed to be really, really energy efficient. So if you're not using them, they power down, and there was no way to then wake up Bluetooth to make the app run. So what they've had to do is move over to the system that people are using around the world, where Google and Apple have come together and agreed this kind of software patch, as they call it. And what it means is that, yeah, these problems will be largely overcome. The difference is that the original app was collecting a lot of central data, and that's against all of Apple and Google's privacy policies. So, this app, people can be really assured nobody will have any details of yours at all unless you need to register for a test. And then, of course, you're dealing with the NHS, and the NHS has got, very, very robust privacy systems. Robin and Josh, you're already looking confused, so I'm not doing a good job in explaining it. Do you want to ask some questions?
Um, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, the way that it works, unless they've changed it from when I saw it originally in terms of the Apple and Google one, um, is that it basically keeps a kind of 14-day rolling list of every other device that it comes within a certain distance of. Um, and then if you then kind of have to have a test or a positive test, um, you then basically kind of select that you've had that, and then I think it can then push out everything to every device within the last 14 days. Is that right? Have I understood that
Yes,
right?
pretty much. The app is actually going to do a whole range of things. It's going to explain the symptoms to you so that you can recognize when you've got COVID. It's going to tell you the latest data in your postcode area. And that's something that we've wanted for such a long time, to know whether there's cases locally and to be able to track, are they going up and are they going down? It makes it very easy for you to, if you get alerted, to say that you've been in contact and you need to isolate, then it connects you to another stream of advice. But critically, if you just wake up with symptoms, it's going to help you to book a test, go through the test, give you the tips, and effectively sort of electronically hold your hand. Of course, there's lots of human beings connected to the system. The NHS responders will be helping. It won't be replacing people going, people phoning you up from the national team to say you've been in contact with somebody. But I think it's just really, really helpful, if it works, and it's being, this is the whole point, to tweak it to make sure that it does work. Then, yes, if you've been in contact with anybody who 2 meters close to you or less, so anybody up to 2 meters away from you for 15 minutes, if they suddenly report within 14 days that they have virus symptoms and the virus is confirmed by testing, you will then automatically be told, advised to isolate, and supported to get a test. And once you start to isolate, it will count down for you. So you're going to know exactly which day you're on, how many days you've got left, and so on and so forth. So it's actually, it sounds, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be able to have first sight of it next week with a group of other people, which is exciting in itself. We're going to move on now because, as I say, we're going to have a 5-minute update every show for the next month or so. For anybody who's wondering how to get involved, you don't have to do anything. If you live in Newham, you will get a letter come through your letterbox, and it will give you a unique code to be able to download the app. And that code will be unique to you so that you can't pass it on to somebody else. But if you live outside of Newham, you can still help us to feedback by telling us what's your favourite app, what's your least favourite app, what makes it your favourite app, what do you like doing with it, what do you always find problematic about apps, particularly if you've got some kind of impairment related access need, because we have to make sure that it works for everybody. And at the same point, we're going to go, well, what is an app? Are we even clear? So I think on Monday, we're going to go back to some basics, start talking about some apps. We're going to have app developers coming on. We're going to talk about how we can use different apps in the arts, and hopefully talk to a couple of artists who've made their own apps as an art project. This is, as we have said all along, our digital year, whether we chose to make it a digital year or not. And I think it's going to be really exciting. We have, in fact, have plans to develop our own COVID app for anybody who remembers Charlie and the Sea Monsters, which we showed I think on Monday, either on Monday or last week, but I think it was Monday.
No,
It's
it was
been
this week.
a hot week. Yes, this Monday we showed Charlie and the Sea Monsters. That is a colouring book that you can download and print and colour, but we really want to make it into a colouring book app as well. So hopefully we'll learn something about that. In